Remothered, Tormented Fathers is an indie horror game that leans more into its stealth mechanics than puzzle solving. You play as Rosemary, who arrives at the overgrown Felton estate in hopes of uncovering the secret behind the disappearance of a little girl named Celeste. And here we are, an unwelcome guest fumbling around a gigantic, dark mansion, hoping not to get caught. This is Remothered. In your roughly 6-hour adventure, Rosemary's search for truth will turn into a desperate fight for survival. And when the shit hits the fan, you'll realize that getting out of the house won't be nearly as easy as getting in.
I knew it!
Unfortunately, the game's puzzles never rise above discover the need for an item, search the house for it, make your way back, and use the thing on the thing. And while this is about as basic as you can get, the item locations are intentionally placed in such a way that you must make your way back and forth through the house, which will inevitably have you confronting your pursuer. The sound design really shines here. Dread-filled tones pulsate and layer on top of one another as you get closer and closer to danger. Footsteps and disturbing chatter can sometimes sound like it's coming from right next to you, which ensures that you always feel like you're moments away from being spotted. Now at first glance you may be thinking this kind of horror game is a dime a dozen these days. And you'd be right. From Amnesia to Soma to Outlast, we've had our fair share of hide-and-seek horror. And I'm pretty open about my disdain for this kind of design. I love horror, it's one of my favorite genres in both gaming and film, but I have very little patience for an experience that asks you to duck and cover anytime the big bad is nearby and just wait there. Endlessly waiting for them to just go away, it sucks. And in a sense, these are also the rules that Remothered plays by. But by giving the player even the slightest bit of agency, they've resolved many of the issues that I usually have with these games. You see, the mansion is littered with countless distraction items for you to collect, and with them, you're empowered to place noise-making traps to attract enemies, use a rope to tie doors closed and lock them into rooms, and my personal favorite, throwable items that can stun and disorient the enemy. There's nothing quite like taking a moment from running away to smash a snow globe in the face of the jerk that's been chasing you.
Stupid kid! Fucking cocksucker!
Yeah, that's the stuff. The entirety of Remothered takes place in this mansion. Making your way back and forth as you gain access to new rooms and items ensures that by the end you'll be intimately familiar with the space. Much like the Spencer Mansion in Resident Evil, this once foreign place will be burned into your brain, and in that respect, I'd consider Remothered a huge success. Visually, the game can look drop-dead gorgeous, but upon closer inspection, the jank does rear its ugly head here and there, be it in the character animation, the voice acting, or awkwardly placed load screens. Ultimately, the storyline in Remothered is jam-packed with multiple narrative threads and character revelations that would make Hideo Kojima proud, but it's all just presented in a way that I simply couldn't be bothered to wrap my head around. Luckily, the game's atmosphere was strong enough that I was more than happy to play through it without fully understanding what was going on. But unfortunately, there's not that much to see after completing the game, outside of a concept art gallery. Alternate costumes or even being able to swap character models would have been a fun reward for players. Maybe they could patch that in later.
It's all their fault. But I should have never come back home. How can I use it?
Remothered is a tough game to review in that it's definitely an acquired taste. There's plenty of rough edges and it doesn't do much to change up its formula as the game progresses. But damn if it wasn't an exhilarating and intense experience, dripping with dread from beginning to end. And for a certain breed of horror fan, that's more than worth the price of admission. If you're looking for a fresh new horror game to spend an evening or two with, or you've just been jonesing for a loving tribute to Clock Tower, I couldn't recommend it enough. Remothered Tormented Fathers gets a 4 out of 5.
You came to us to free us from evil.
Oh, God.